Hi, this is Blair Pleasant, and I'm at ITExpo in Las Vegas, and with me is Jeff Valentine. Jeff is Executive VP, Product and Corporate Development with Fonality. So hello, Jeff.
Hi, Blair. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So we were just talking about the role of contact center and SMB. So what's going on? Why do SMBs need to think about the contact center?
Well, this is the way I think about it. Contact centers have been around for a long time, but they've really been confined to a stereotype of a contact center. In fact, there was a sitcom about contact centers, right? It's usually somebody sitting in a cube with a headset on. You know, that type of contact center function, you generally need a dedicated contact center system. And larger enterprises have made that investment. They made the investment in equipment, and they made the investment in training and people to provide that level of service. My contention is that SMBs have contact centers, but they may not know it. The contact centers that SMBs have are probably helping to sell new customers new products, or maybe they're servicing customers. That combination of sales and service exists in almost every SMB today, and it's something that I think if you start running your SMB like a contact center, you might find some extra benefit from.
So can you give me a couple examples?
Sure. Well, here's one. How about an auto dealer that maybe makes service appointments? These service writers that take auto dealer appointments for oil changes and other work, maybe they start taking calls at 7 a.m. This particular customer that I used to work with, they indeed have an opening time of 7 a.m. We show them a contact center report showing that the abandon rate from their service queue was about 75% before 8 a.m. The owner looked at it and said that obviously you're wrong, our system must be broken because his service department opens at 7 a.m. and why would he be abandoning calls? So we went back and checked just to be sure, and indeed he was abandoning those calls. We confirmed 3 out of 4 were abandoning before 8 a.m. He walked down there and said to the guys, why are you abandoning calls? Oh, well, they sometimes get there at 7:10, they have to get a coffee, and all these other human factors that are contributing to people. Now, when they call for a service appointment, not getting an answer, hanging up, probably calling Jiffy Lube, and then the dealership misses the opportunity to go upsell them on other things like tire rotations or your 50,000 mile service or whatever it is that they sell besides oil changes. So that's an example of how one particular company was able to use a contact center metric, abandon rate, and because they had this contact center functionality built in, the ability to go change something about their business to help improve profit.
Now, did they have queues? Did they have skills-based routing? What kinds of things did they have?
They did, yeah. So, I mean, the concept of having a queue is central to a contact center. So when a customer calls in, they'll need to maybe press a button or maybe call a special phone number from your phone system to put them in a particular queue. And that just means they're waiting in line, listening to hold music, waiting for somebody to answer. And abandon is when that person decides to hang up and call somebody else. They just give up on it before one of your employees answers. So what was happening in this case is, yes, they were set up properly with queues. Skills-based routing means you were trying to send the calls to people that were equipped to handle them. In that case, in an auto dealer, it was a service writer. It was just a human problem. Their people weren't trained. They didn't recognize the importance of taking those calls, so they weren't taking them. They weren't even logging into the system to take them.
That's probably pretty typical for an SMB.
It is, right? I mean, and especially in SMB where every little efficiency matters a lot. You know, if you're able to sell an extra 5 appointments, those people that you have on staff that are, fixing cars, for example, you're paying them regardless if they're working or not. And if you're missing 5 appointments, you have a vacancy rate of an extra few percent in your service shop. That's a few percent of profit that you're missing every year. So it actually adds up pretty quickly, especially for the SMB.
So what does Fonality do to help the SMBs in this area?
Well, I think one of the things that we do really well is we provide a contact center system for the non-contact center. So these are companies that they don't think they're contact centers. In fact, their employees, if you called them contact center agents, they'd be offended. These are our technology allows them to act like contact center agents in that you can distribute calls to them just as if they're from a contact center. You can measure whether or not they're answering them, how long it's taking to answer those calls, and perhaps how long they're spending on the phone after those calls are answered. All of those are critical contact center metrics. I maintain that you can't manage what you don't measure. So by measuring it, it allows the SMB for the first time now to go recognize, look, there's might be a problem here. You can at least ask the question, is there something going on within my sales or service department that is taking away from our bottom line?
So the key is use the tools, just don't call people contact center agents.
That's right, and don't put headsets on them. Just let them do their job and maybe ask questions like, why aren't you answering the phone? Or, how many calls did you make today if you're a sales guy? Things like that.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much, Jeff.
Sure, thank you.